My wedding was a disaster. Edit to clear some points. My husband wasn't involved with the drug incident, he was hanging with a different group of friends. It was our bridal party and a few other friends who were doing drugs. I've talked to him and my friends multiple times about how it affected me. They're sorry, but it doesn't really make me feel better since they were the ones who caused it. I have no doubts my marriage or any intentions to leave my husband. This was a strange, out-of-the-blue mistake for him. We faced many high-pressure and even emergency situations together, and he's never acted this way. After 4 years together and 3 living together, he's never done anything like this before or since. He doesn't use as many drugs as I do, and those he does, we do together. He rarely drinks and is the most active in our household chores. He's a fantastic guy, and this incident was just a terribly timed mistake. I have generalized anxiety disorder, social anxiety, and childhood trauma from abusive and absent parents. Because of all this, I experienced dissociative episodes during my childhood and teen years, but never as an adult. Vent alert, I can't use my main account since my husband follows me, though I've talked to him plenty about this, but once you read on, you'll get why that's not very helpful. TL Doctor, I felt really let down by my bridal party, friends, and husband on my wedding day. I also felt like I dissociated for almost the entire day and went to bed sad and alone before everyone else. It's been months since that day, and I'm still having a hard time dealing with it. Story: the wedding planning was super stressful. If you've ever planned a wedding, you know what I mean. I wasn't exactly looking forward to most of the day, like the formal stuff, but I was eager for everything to be over so I could relax and enjoy. A few months before the wedding, my partner and I sat down and talked about how we wanted that day and night to go. After all the planning stress, I just wanted to let loose, party hard, and worry about stuff the next day. However, he's not a big drinker and suggested we shouldn't drink too much so we'd remember everything, have a nice chat before bed, and wake up refreshed since our honeymoon was in 2 days. I agreed it was a good idea. Even if it wasn't exactly what I wanted, I realized it was the best decision. We did the normal wedding prep stuff, had an awesome hen party, and the wedding planner, photographer, and vendors were all excellent. Everything was as smooth as it could be. The day of the morning started okay, even though I hardly slept, maybe 4 to 5 hours. I was worn out but excited and jittery. I joined my bridesmaids for hair and makeup at 6:30 a.m., starting at 7. That part was fine, but I was so nervous that I became quiet. My friends noticed and gave me space, chatting among themselves, but they didn't really engage with me much for most of the day. I spent a lot of that morning in a room with my best friends, feeling utterly alone. I think the overwhelming emotions short-circuited my nervous system, and I started to dissociate. And meanwhile, everyone else was having a great time. Hair and makeup were on schedule. The photographer was fantastic right from the start. Everyone got dressed, ready for the first look. I put on my dress, but I felt nothing didn't feel bridal, excited, or beautiful. I kept hoping seeing my husband would make it better, and I was really looking forward to it. When my husband arrived for the first look, he was in tears. I wasn't. I'm usually very emotional, but I just didn't feel anything. Although I did feel more relaxed with him and enjoyed our time together until the bridal party photos ended and it was time for the ceremony. We were in the room waiting for the ceremony to begin, and it began to drizzle. We knew it might rain and had a bad weather plan, but without my phone all day, I was in the dark about its activation. Surprisingly, my bridesmaids noted how calm and unimpressed I seemed about things going wrong. I didn't consider them mistakes, just planned deviations. I just brushed it off. It was out of my hands. Truthfully, I wasn't calm. I felt nothing. I walked down the aisle in the rain and still felt nothing. Everyone else had tears, even if it was just the rain on their faces. I felt awful that everyone was drenched in the sudden downpour, so we rushed the ceremony, even skipping the signing till later to get everyone inside. That's when things really started to fall apart. My husband and I promised not to drink much and to stay side by side, but from cocktail hour onwards, I was trailing him. We'd be chatting with someone, and he'd just wander off and start talking to someone else. I spent the whole cocktail hour searching for him. Asking around it was stressful and made me mad because he was so laid back about it. Group photos were another nightmare, and I'd rather not go into it. The reception began. Speeches were lovely. Food looked delicious, but I was numb and starting to feel nauseous, barely eating it. During dinner, my husband kept getting up to talk to others, leaving me alone. Not really, since I had my bridesmaids, but it felt that way. Dessert arrived, and again, I had to hunt him down to share a special dessert with me. He was more drunk than expected. I'd barely drunk anything 2 mimosas in the morning and a glass of wine after the ceremony from about 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. I went back to the table, waited for him, and after 10 minutes, found him saying that was so good he'd eaten his own slice, misunderstanding that I'd some ready for us at the table. At this point, I was really upset but thought, just one dance left, then I can rest. The first dance went well despite his drunkenness. Around 8 p.m., I swapped my heels for sneakers, used the loo, and bustled my soaked, mud-stained, weighty dress. Back on the dance floor, no one was there. For dramatic effect, only work friends and family were around. Both bridal party sides and my husband were gone, and remember, I still didn't have my phone on me. This led to spent family members asking about him, chatting with lingering friends, and wondering where everyone disappeared to. Many were staying at the venue, so I looped with a friend trying to find them, but, exhausted, soggy, and sad, gave up after half an hour and returned. I didn't want to dance or talk anymore. I had no clue where anyone was. When family started leaving at 10:30, I just went to bed. A friend found my husband completely out of it. I've only seen him that drunk once before, which is why he toned down drinking. Talking to him was pointless, so I sent him back to the party, showered, and went to bed. Next day, I learned everyone had gone to one room to do drugs, something my friends occasionally do that I clearly stated shouldn't happen at the wedding. They went against that. I could continue, but I've already been typing 30 minutes, drained and just saddened. I worked hard saving and planning for this wedding, spent nearly $50,000, and barely enjoyed it while feeling betrayed by my husband and friends. It's tough to think or talk about, but occupies my mind constantly. Not sure why I'm posting, but I need to vent since I don't know who to talk to. I love my husband, and he loves me. He's amazing. The wedding day wasn't a reflection of him as a person or how he consistently supports me. I feel so let down and blindsided by that day and my lack of emotion, which darkens my thoughts on the wedding and feelings towards myself and relationships since. Thanks for sticking through and reading.
Story 2.
My coworker is a totally normal person and he fascinates me. He has no mental health problems like everyone else here and most of the other people in my life. He isn't on any meds. He's physically healthy. I've had to explain my panic attacks, anxiety, my meds, being overwhelmed by basically everything and so much more to him because he's never heard of them. Almost everyone I know is a mess, and the contrast between them, myself and him, is amazing to me. It's like he's a machine. Just some other things: he's never late to work. He doesn't oversleep. He doesn't have trouble sleeping. He doesn't have meltdowns, tantrums, outbursts, or shutdowns. He isn't allergic to anything, and he has no food sensitivities, or at least none that he knows of. He works out every day, either at home or the gym. He has no chronic health issues. He doesn't get stuck or freeze or get trapped in a loop. He can drive without issue and knows how to get to where he wants to go without his phone. Detours don't cause him any issues. If things don't go to plan or have to change or just fall apart, he just adapts and moves on. He can just talk to people, males, females, just casual conversation. If a big choice has to be made, he just makes it. He does what he says he'll do when he says he'll do it the way he says he'll do it. He can solve problems. There's no Googling, no looking it up. He just knows. He doesn't keep his phone on him all day. He just puts it away and has no need to look at it. He doesn't use social media. He doesn't follow it. He doesn't care about it.